There is a restlessness that will not leave your spirit, and the reason why might surprise you. You keep moving, you fill your schedule with hustle, but underneath the noise, there it is, a persistent pull toward a life you haven't built yet. It's not loud, it's not demanding, it's just there, like a low-frequency hum in a quiet room. And here is what makes it unsettling. You've checked all the boxes. You've done what you were told would bring satisfaction, yet the hunger keeps growing, building toward a breaking point you can't quite name. This is not random. When you are outgrowing a version of yourself that you've worked hard to maintain, the friction doesn't weaken, it sharpens. Comfort doesn't bring peace. It brings a strange kind of claustrophobia. Your drive isn't always a signal of strength. Sometimes it's an SOS from a part of you that's tired of performing, the constant need for the next distraction. Most people walk past the person who is doing well, never realizing they are drowning in their own expectations. That internal pressure doesn't disappear. It turns into a resentment for the very life you built. Part 2. Why your discontent is so active right now. Growth is not dramatic. It doesn't explain itself. It simply arrives as a persistent awareness that your current enough isn't enough anymore. When this arrives as a nagging dissatisfaction, especially during the drive home or the early morning hours, it's because something is shifting that your ego hasn't processed yet. You are outgrowing your environment before you found a new one to move into. This is why this feeling differs from simple boredom. It feels heavier, more urgent. You find yourself wondering if this is it for the next 30 years. That is your deeper self responding to an imbalance between who you are and what you're doing. When you suppress your true calling, it creates a pressure that cannot be contained by a promotion or a paycheck. Your discontent is the first part of you to realize you're playing a game you no longer want to win. Part 3. Why you've gone numb. People don't go numb because they stop caring. They go numb because the truth is too expensive to acknowledge. To admit you're unhappy in a good life feels like a loss of control. For an American raised on the idea of more, that admission is terrifying. You fear the judgment of those who would give anything to be in your shoes. You fear that it creates a pressure that cannot be contained by a promotion or a paycheck. Your discontent is the first part of you to realize you're playing a game you no longer want to win. Part 3. Why you've gone numb. People don't go numb because they stop caring. They go numb because the truth is too expensive to acknowledge. Vulnerability will make you look ungrateful, so you choose the grind. But the grind doesn't fix the soul. It just delays the conversation. You aren't pulling away from your goals because you're lazy. You're pulling away because they no longer have a heartbeat. The irony is that the harder you try to force the old passion, the faster it dies. Your numbness isn't a wall. It's a bridge to a different kind of honesty. Part 4. How purpose survives the pivot. Change doesn't destroy your hard work. It validates it. When the old rewards stop tasting like anything, it means the connection to that version of yourself was never meant to be permanent. You may feel the call of a different path during those quiet hours, late at night when the world stops asking things of you. This isn't about blowing up your life tomorrow. Sometimes your role isn't to quit, it's to witness. It's to hold space for the new you without the pressure to have an immediate business plan. Part 5. What this midlife fog is asking of you. This moment isn't asking you to quit your job impulsively or burn bridges. It's asking you to trust the discomfort without letting it turn into a crisis. It's asking for awareness without obsession, to have the courage to look at your life and say, I am grateful, but I am finished here. If clarity comes, let it be because you stopped running. Understanding why you feel like a stranger in your own home is often enough to bring the first breath of real peace. Part 6. The moment the pressure breaks. Eventually, the intensity of the what if softens. Not because you've solved everything, but because you've stopped fighting the feeling. You stop searching for the reason you're restless and you accept that you are. That acceptance brings a grounded power. You realize that feeling done with a season of life isn't a failure, it's a graduation. This is maturity, realizing that your ambition doesn't have to be a suicide pact with your younger self. You can still work hard, but the anxiety is gone. The need to prove yourself to people who aren't even watching fades. What remains is a quiet knowing you are going through a transition and you don't need anyone's permission to start the next chapter. Trust that if you need direction, it will feel itself in the work. If it doesn't, the restlessness still gave you something. It reminded you that you are still alive, still evolving, and still capable of more than just getting by. Honor that sensitivity. Not everyone notices when their soul has left the building. That isn't a midlife crisis. That's wisdom. When peace replaces the hustle, you don't lose your edge. You sharpen it. You carry your drive gently, without the demand that it defines your entire worth. And sometimes that quiet realization is the only more you ever really needed. If you've been feeling like a ghost in your own success lately, it doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're ready. Trust that.